come quickly. And every eye shall see. Oh, and every tongue will swear to me, I am the Savior, and I love you. I know it won't be long until the Savior comes. Oh, and if you're weary, keep on praying. Sometimes we do get down with no one else around. But in those quiet times, He whispers, "You are mine, and I love you." Sometimes we know we're wrong, and we feel so far from home. But if you listen, you'll hear His gentle voice saying you belong. The cares of life, they sting, but when we see the King, oh, they'll melt away just like the snows in spring. No more tears, no more crying. Behold, I come quickly, and every eye shall see. Oh, and every tongue will swear to me, I am the Savior, and I love you. I know it won't be long until the Savior comes. Oh, and if you're weary, keep on praying. Sometimes we do get down with no one else around, but in those quiet times he whispers, you are mine, and I love him whole. But if you listen, you'll hear his gentle voice saying you belong. The cares of life, they sting, but when we see the King, oh, they'll melt away just like the snows in spring. No more tears, no more crying. Behold, I come quickly, and every eye shall see. Oh, and every tongue will swear to me, I am the Savior, and I love you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our family town hall for here at the Bob Rumble home. It is hard to believe that it's May 28th. There's lots of things to go over today, and Shirley's going to share some really good information with you. We know it's been an interesting media week, and we want to share some information with you. So again, there is a way to send your comments and questions on the bottom of the YouTube page there, and I'm going to turn it over to Shirley.
Thanks, Derek. Hi, everyone. I hope that you're all keeping safe and finally enjoying summer. I'm not sure if this could be called spring. I wanted to let you know that we've now set up the other portable phone at Care Center 2. It's near the windows in the corner. The number is, and I will send it out to you later, 249-288-2178. But as I said, I will send that out to you in an email. I just wanted to touch on the report from the military that has been in the media over this past week. As you know, I have sent letters out to all the families. I wanted to assure you that we are deeply disturbed and upset about the findings. It's totally unconscionable in my mind that these operators have been allowed to run facilities. You'll note that they're talking about the for-profit homes, and because they've been the hardest hit. And I personally think and hope that they do away with for-profit homes, because I've always said, who do you answer to, your residents and families or to your shareholders? So this has certainly brought that to light. And as you know, or may not know, long-term care has been ignored for many, many years. At least 20 or more years. There's been, our association and we as administrators have been asking for the ministry to look into long-term care because it's a very broken system in many ways. So it's unfortunate that this pandemic has really brought that to light. And I don't think it's fair to lay it at the feet of Mr. Ford's government, because it's years and years of neglect by the government in terms of what should be done. So hopefully, as they begin their commission in July, they will be truly transparent and really listen to us and I don't know, in a way, use Bob Rumble as an example in terms of being a small home, not for profit, and I will share some information with you. So Premier Ford talked about red homes. Each home in Ontario has been assessed for risk. There's red, yellow, and green. We are a green home, which is low risk. I'm sure we're going to have our inspectors coming in anyway, so we plan to prepare for that. We're taking a look at this report that came out, and we're looking at where the areas of concern were, make sure that that's not happening in this home, and make sure that we have everything done right so that we can provide the best care possible. So I wanted to talk to you now about, because it also came on the media, about some of the homes and not having air conditioning and some of the families being concerned. So we have procedures for hot weather. So each resident by the end of May has to have a risk assessment done. So this is based on their diagnosis and their medication. A daily check of the UV index and air quality and humidex is conducted. If the UV and air quality is 7 or higher, the residents must stay inside. And if the humidex is greater than 30, then residents are not to go out. When the residents do go out, we do ensure that they're wearing sunscreen. If they have a hat, they're encouraged to wear it, and we encourage them to sit in the shade. We are going to be buying some more umbrellas to put in the 2 courtyards because there isn't much shade there at the moment. The building itself, except for the hallways and the resident rooms, is air conditioned. The hallways and the rooms have conditioned air, and this means there's a constant flow of fresh air coming into the building. It goes through our HVAC refrigeration system, which lowers the temperature of the air coming in, and then it's fed into the building. In the past, we used to place large fans in the hallways to help the airflow and the heat. But because of COVID, we can't do that. So residents are allowed, however, to have a fan in their room. If the humidity in the hallways gets too high, the residents are encouraged to come down to the main living area, which is a cooling area. Residents are kept hydrated with liquids, popsicles, and freezers, and they are monitored. I want to talk about okay. So a family member sent us a great idea for a visitation station. This would allow families and residents to meet outside. So we're looking at having 2 of these built. So that's a picture of one that's the picture that the family member sent us. So I've been in touch with Derek, and he's working on, he's contacted Honda, and together with Honda, they're going to build something that's similar to that, but better, I think. So we'll let you know when they come up. And what would happen is family members would have to come through the gates, and the residents would come through the doors in the dining room, and then you could sit facing each other a lot closer and have a much better conversation, I'm hoping. I also wanted to mention, I'm not sure if any of you are on Facebook, but if you are, or Twitter, I think we have Twitter too, go to the Bob Rumble Foundation page. Jessica is posting loads of pictures of your loved ones and also of the activities that are going on. I was thinking, because I really don't have much more to share with you today, that we could change these meetings to once a month. And if necessary, we could certainly schedule meetings as needed. The meetings would be, if you agree, once a month, and they would be at 2 o'clock. I would like to again say thank you to all the families for your support. It means a lot to the staff and to each of us, and we really appreciate it. And we ask that you continue to pray for us. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
We have a list of comments from family members that want to say thank you to all the staff for being diligent in keeping all of our friends and family safe and happy. We are blessed to have such a committed group. Another family member writes, I sent a letter to the Premier. I would encourage all other family members to do the same.
Thank you.
I love the idea of this visitation centers. On Facebook, the pictures are great. A great touch, and I love them. Here's a question, Shirley. How can we drop off a fan for our family member? So you can drop off a fan. What will happen is we will leave it for 3 days, or is it 48 hours? 3 days? 2 days. It will sit for 2 days, and then it will be sanitized, and then we will bring it into your family member. So within 3 days, they should get it in their room. There are many family members looking forward to the outdoor visitation station.
Good.
And so are we. We're looking forward to being on that. If you create a visitation center, could it have a hug component that we've seen on Facebook?
Well, they're going to be make out of plexiglass, so I'm not quite sure how. Derek can look into. We'll look into it, and if we can, we will for sure.
So just for the family members know, there's about a 2-minute delay. So if you have any questions or comments, I would address them now in the comments section, and we can get to them.
Can I just add the letter that one of our family members so eloquently put together that goes to the Premier? I think she's done she's revised it based on sort of what's happened this week. So I will send that out. If you've already sent it, that's great. If you haven't, we'd really appreciate it if you could send it out. I also forgot to mention that I now have a template that I'm using to provide the residents with weekly updates. So I've just started it this week. So they'll get a letter from me. And in that letter, it's a template. There's a list of things, food, bathing, miscellaneous changes. So they get a little blurb about what's going on, because sometimes in the busyness of everything, we forget about letting the residents know what's going on too. So they'll receive that on a weekly basis. I will send you a copy of what it looks like.
Here's a terrific question. It's asking, how often are the staff and residents being tested?
So we were tested at the beginning of May, and what we have heard is that Premier Ford would like long-term care staff and residents tested again. We haven't heard anything further, so we're waiting for them. However, if somebody comes to the door and they're screened and they don't pass the screening, they are immediately sent to a testing station. They stay home until they get their results. If the results are negative, they come back to work. So right now we have no tests pending. So we have nobody who's been tested that we're waiting for results.
Another question is, are we able to drop off items for our resident?
So yes, so what's been happening is that people are changing over from winter clothing to summer clothing. So we've been telling people to, put it in a box or a bag. We will leave it again for a couple of days, and then we will, we have a resident assistant, or it might even be Amy, who will pack up the winter clothing and then bring that out to you and switch over to the summer clothing. And people, I have to admit, the vestibule is a very busy place. People are always dropping stuff off. So we have one side where we let it sit for 2 days. Then we have another side where we sanitize it and leave it a day, or just sanitize it and bring it in.
I think it's just sanitize first, sit for 3 days or 2 days. And
So sanitize first, sit for 3 days, and then bring in. Yeah.
There are many thanks for the work that's happening here. Another question about testing. If there are any specific questions you have about testing, I would send an email to the staff here. But we are following all the guidelines and all the obligations that the Ministry of Health is putting upon us. So I think that just about wraps up the questions. We'll leave the questions open for now, and I'll just have a few words with you if you guys can tolerate me just for a little bit.
Your letter went out today, by the way. Your letter went out today.
So it is a very strange time for the media this week, and over the course of the holiday weekend and warm weather, sometimes we expect the most obvious things to happen. And we still live in this world of COVID-19 where we all have a responsibility. I get a little, well, that's no good anymore. The responsibility still lies with us, and I know you've heard me say that for a couple of weeks, and I put my thoughts to writing because there was a request for that. But I also believe that the responsibility is so much in our hands that I don't want the government or municipality spray painting a circle on the ground and telling me that it's okay to sit in it, because I know better. I don't want the province thinking, or the mayors of other towns thinking, well, let's not be like Toronto. Well, let's all be responsible for our own actions, and the ones that we have to care for, who can't really make good sound decisions for themselves, our children, our grandchildren, that we have to make decisions for them that are in the best interest of controlling the virus, but also the spread. I have dear friends in the north who are so concerned for their loved one that they're doing everything possible to make sure that they and their family are safe. But all it takes is one carelessness, one act of selfishness that is going to ruin it for everyone. It's hard not to be, for me, it's hard, and I'm sharing this with you, it's hard not to be negative, because we are trying our best and we have done it so well here. The government says, well, we're 12 weeks into the pandemic. Well, you know what? We are 16 weeks into it here, because we were ahead of everybody, and we are keeping people safe because of that. And we will continue to hold it up to the highest standard. And sometimes that's at the expense of visiting loved ones, but we're doing it to make sure that they have the highest quality of life. So please be assured about that. Thank you again. Every time I see you or you see me, I'm thanking you for lending us your loved one. They are a joy. 95% of the people here are a joy. 98% of them. And one of my seniors from the deaf church who just came up here was so thankful, so grateful that she's here, and all that we did to make sure that she was safe and getting here makes that smile I get to see through a window. It's breathtaking. And that smile, to see that she's in an environment where she's cared for and in a place that there isn't no other place like it. And we're so grateful that she is here, because she's family. And your loved ones that are here with us, they're our family too. So thank you for lending them to us again. And I will say that to you every time I see you. And whether we're getting a weather report from our favorite resident or just a smile, we love it. And the staff that are here, I can promise you, the staff that work here, this is more than just a job for them. It's more than just a job. So stay well, take care of your families. And again, thank you for lending us your loved one. And Shirley's going to be sending out the schedule of our next town hall meeting. We're going to push it back just a couple of weeks. If there is something that we need to share with you, we'll do it the same day, because we have the ability to do that and communicate to you through the email. And we will make sure that you are never left out of the loop. We know that. Stay well, stay safe. And again, thanks for lending us your loved one. So push number 2.
There any more?